Welcome to Conversations in Between the Realms, a podcast where the mystical meets the everyday. Join Amanda Nova and Beth Renov each week as we dive into the profound journey of awakening, sharing our experiences, insights, and the lessons that guide us toward our divine purpose. Together, we awaken and guide our souls and others, exploring the magic of living in the 3D while staying connected to the higher realms, embracing the challenges, and celebrating the growth. You've been guided here for a reason. Trust in the journey and let the unfolding begin.
Welcome to Conversations in Between the Realms. I'm Amanda Nova, and I'm here as always with the lovely Beth Renov. And we're going to be talking today about tapping into the energy of the collective consciousness and just how there's so many things that are happening at the same time that people are feeling. And I think that that's why a lot of psychics or mediums or astrologers are saying a lot of the same things or feeling a lot of the same things. And we're just going to be talking about how we are tapping into that energy, and you're going to share some of your experience with that. First, as always, let's start with how you are. What's going on? How you doing? Are you okay? You look great. Are you okay?
I mean, when am I? I think it's more like are you okay? Like ever? No, it's just been like crazy. I feel like the past month has just been crazy energy. I know you're not like into doing the Schumann, whatever it's called, updates, but there was like a complete blackout yesterday.
Yeah. No, I'm still into doing it. I
don't like reporting.
Yeah. I mean, I will do it if something is crazy. Like, I feel like I'm checking in on it and I'm doing it. I just don't feel like doing it repeatedly. Like last week, it was insane. Absolutely insane. It was non-stop lights coming in, light coming, like high frequency energy. Like we were being waterboarded. And I did a couple of things on it, but then I just didn't feel like I just felt like I would be a broken record because like there's only so much you can say, but it was actually pretty crazy. Like there was no reprieve. And for it to now be in a blackout is also pretty crazy because think about it, like you have this nonstop like hitting of energy and now it's like an integration period. So it's like go, 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 go. And then it's like that like into that void now.
Yeah. And I wonder because I've heard just like horror stories the past week of like, unfortunately, he was like my second dog, but he just like dropped dead at 5. Like he had a seizure and had a heart attack. It was awful. And another client of mine, her mother-in-law had a stroke. Another person, I don't know if it was a client, but their friend fell off a balcony on vacation. I mean, these are just stories you don't like. Yes, people have strokes, dogs die, but these are like really like this woman was fully healthy. There was no indication like why she'd have a stroke. It was just like all in like one little week, like a few days span. And it's like it has to be energetic. And that's another like tapping into the collective consciousness is like why is this happening, and why does it all happen at once? It's so bizarre. And I heard like 5 more that were just horrible.
Yeah.
Like I had experiences that were like really torturous last week, and it's just like I don't get why. I mean, I know the saying when it rains it pours, but that has to be because of like energetic reasons, right? Like I don't know, it was just horrible. So I feel like we've just been catching our breath. I don't know. And I'm hoping actually the blackout brings some more positive energy. I would think like the influx of like high energy would be a good thing, but I've just been hearing like horrible things.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but it's definitely affected me in being like, what is going on?
I know. And I feel like it's energetic and then it's also literal, like hurricanes. Like there was a literal hurricane that happened, right? Like all of these actual physical climate
Yeah.
things have been happening. And then when we're
Yeah.
looking at the Schumann resonance, right, we're looking at what's happening in the atmosphere of the earth, right? So we're looking at what's happening at a physical level and an energetic level on the earth, right? Those things impact us because we are energetic beings. So what's happening to us is also what's happening to earth. So like we are going through this collective up leveling, collective upgrade, collective shift, let's call it, because it doesn't always feel like an upgrade. It is an upgrade, it is an up leveling, but it's really a massive shift. But the earth is going through it with us. And that's like what we sometimes like forget is like we are going through this like with our planet. Like it is like it is a collective with earth, with the animals, with everything. Like this is all like that's the oneness of like going through this like shift. And it doesn't feel positive, but it's like as we kind of like move into these like higher consciousness and like we kind of like, move through the darkness, it's bringing us to a better place, but it just doesn't feel that way because all of that heavy duty frequency is so much for us to take on. And a lot of those deaths, like we're seeing it through the light of like it's negative, it's catastrophe, it's so horrible. But if we're looking at it from the soul side of things, it's like those souls are returning home to where they want to be. So it's like there is another side of that. Like I know that that's like
Right.
not the right, it's a different way
Right.
of looking at it. It's like kind of
Right.
like there's sort of like this like changing of the guard almost happening from a
Right.
soul level. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. And I also just feel like those bodies are, because I just remembered another. Like I had another client whose cousin dropped dead at like 30 something. They don't even know why. And she has two kids. Like, it's just like, I don't get like why, but the only thing I can think of is their bodies can't handle the energy, and maybe they're just meant to. And I do believe some people are just meant to be here and sucks. And no one who's lost someone wants to hear this. But it's just like, maybe this was their time, and maybe they were here to bring something before this energetic upleveling, and that their bodies, this physical body, and my love Garth, our dog, like not our dog, but like my sister-in-law's dog, his little body couldn't handle it, and it's so sad, but I can't help but think there's something happening
Yeah.
collectively.
Yeah. No, they're 100% is. Like there's no way about it. But it's like we look at it from that side, then we look at it from the human side, and it's like really, really hard. And so it's like it's such a challenging place to be in between those two, thought perspectives because, like looking at it that way, it's like we kind of knew, I think we had actually said this on the podcast a long time ago, like early on. And this is our 25th episode, by the way. So
Yes.
celebration, even though this is kind of heavy right now, but like
Yeah.
so like bring it back up.
Let's be really
Woohoo!
morbid.
Yes, and as of wait for what I'm gonna say, but we did talk about this, but we did talk about that there was like a mass exit of souls happening. And I do feel like that is kind of what's happening. And I have like a chill, like as I'm saying that, like it is like this, like a lot of these souls came in to do a specific role, a specific mission, and they are moving on. Their job is finished here in this incarnation. They're moving on to do other things. That is what's happening from a soul perspective, an infinite being perspective. And in that world of things, there's no good and bad, right? So that's how they look at it, right? Like job done, like moving on. We're in the human side of things. In the 3D, we're devastated. We miss our loved ones. Like we can't like grasp that, but that's how like it's being shown to me like right now is like it's their role is finished. They have to move on to do other things. And that's kind of like what is happening.
Yeah. It just sucks,
Yeah, fucking sucks. It's like that doesn't help. It doesn't
No.
help, but it's it
Right.
is a perspective.
Right. And when it's like so many at once, you can't help but look at it from that perspective. And I don't think none of these people know each other, so or no one knew Garth,
Yeah.
but it was just crazy. Like within a week span, I heard of 4 or 5 things that I'm like, what is going on? And then you have the Schumann resonance going off. Then yesterday it completely blacked out. So I just thought collectively we're going through something. And on the flip side of it, what the really cool part is that I don't know if I don't remember her last name or what she goes by,
Peppy.
but Pepe.
Peppy.
Um,
Yeah.
Anna Pepe. Like we must be on the same frequency or something, but it is like so I used to do, and it's really interesting because it wasn't planned at all, but I used to do my like weekly channeled message on Tuesday nights or Tuesday during the day. I would either like publish it on Tuesday or Wednesday, and for some reason I've just been doing it Wednesday nights into Thursday. And every week I will record the video and write out my little spiel. And I feel like the writing is really, I'm noticing where I'm really channeling things in,
Hmm.
and I will schedule it. I'll put it on YouTube to schedule it for the next day. And then I'll go on, and it's like a little ritual I have. And then I go on Instagram, and she literally will have posted what I just wrote. And it is so wild. Like last week, I talk about the surfboard and riding the wave and
Yeah.
how, you know, um, people appear to be like because we were talking about mimicry, right? and
Hmm.
and people who are out there who seem like, why are these people who are so inauthentic, who have this like really icky kind of
Yeah.
vibe, getting all this attention when they're inauthentic? They're just like behind this, like they have a costume on, and everybody's gravitating towards them, and they are not like high frequency energy, right? And so I just like all of a sudden I kept seeing waves, and like I was writing and it came out. I don't know where it came from. And the whole thing was about how you really have to ride the wave because, yeah, like this person has the get up on, they have the wetsuit on, they have the surfboard, they look like they're really, you know, like this professional surfer, but then they get out on the board and they have no idea what to do, and then like you get up, you keep getting up and you learn to do it and you have this skill, and then you ride the wave out and you look back and they're just like flailing in the water because
Right.
there's no depth. Then I go and she talks about riding the wave, and like yesterday I did this like, and really where a lot of this comes from is I will have clients and it's like every week there's a theme that they all bring up. And that's where I started to like weave together like collective themes. And I'm like, this can't be coincidence. This is just like what's happening in like the collective energy. So this week was like prioritizing yourself and people pleasing, right? Like, and they go like hand in hand because it's a trauma response. It's fawning, and we learn that either from a parent or it's a coping skill that we develop to keep ourselves safe and to like regulate our nervous systems, but we outgrow it. So, you know, almost every client I talked to was like, I've been people pleasing. And I'm like, we have to prioritize yourself. You have to prioritize your feelings. And so I did this whole thing on it. And then what do I see yesterday? Today, you need to prioritize yourself,
Oh my God. It's so crazy.
Yeah. And
It's so crazy.
we were talking about mimicry, and I think there's a difference between someone literally stealing your stuff, because that does happen, and people just happening to be on the same frequency who do this work. They're tapping into something that's just there. It's almost like if you get to this level, the message is there and you can see it, but if you're not on the level, you can't.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's not that there's copying and stealing going on. It's just like we're getting the message because we're there.
Right. Right. And I think, when we first, started to notice that that was happening, like I was saying to you, like that's validation, right? Like it's validation that you're on the right path. Like there was no, and I think, when it's somebody mimicking. Like, and I've had that happen to me so many times, as you know. Like I have had people steal my content, copy my stuff. Like I have had that happen so many times that it's actually become like a little bit of a fear of mine
Right.
with stuff.
Mhm.
like a block that I've had to get through. And now I really don't care anymore. But like it like has always kind of like irked me. But like you could feel it like when it's like,
Right.
and it's not that vibe with her content and your content. And like, people always wonder because like, we see more of this on TikTok, and I know you hate TikTok, but like people doing a lot of these universal messages. Well, they'll be like,
Hmm.
okay, like if you see this message is for you. And like, I'm sure that people wonder, like, how are they giving a message out to so many people? And like, some of them are, fraud, wackadoo. Like sometimes they come across my page and I'm like, shut up, shut up, shut up. I'm like, shut up. I'm like, leave me alone, leave me alone. But like, this is how like people do send out these like more broad
Right.
channeled messages that resonate with so many people. And it's because there is this collective energy that you're able to tap into. And I think in those cases, I think it's totally okay. And I don't think that that's like copied. I think it's confirmation, which is great.
Yes. And that used to happen to us. Do you remember in the beginning when we would record and then like we'd go on after and people would be posting exactly what we talked about? It was like
Yes.
so bizarre, but it was also
Yes.
so like validating
Yes.
because we're like, we are tapping into something, you know? And I think everybody's psychic on a level. So I think everybody can get to this place. But if you're there, it's a really cool experience. It just shows you this stuff is real. Why would we all
Mhm.
be like tapping into that, you know?
Right. Right. No, it makes total sense. And it is kind of interesting, I think, to see so many people experiencing similar things, because I also do think it brings to the surface that oneness, that idea that we are all energy and that we all come from the same energy and that we're all of the same energy and that we're all together in all of this. Because I do think that there's so much separation, there's so much isolation, there's so much of that right now. And I do feel like that kind of tapping in, like what you're bringing to people by giving them a message that is more for a collective audience, is showing them like you're not alone in this. Like there's other people who are also experiencing this. And I think that's also like really cool.
Right. And I almost feel like on some level, like I was meant to do the therapy in a way. I don't know why this vision like came into my mind, but I'm like the collective's therapist. So it's like by doing my sessions, I'm picking up on what the
Hmm.
collective needs, you
Hmm.
know, and needs to heal
Yeah.
because we are such a society of people pleasing, you know? And yes, there are the others who are just abrasive and aggressive and like don't care and will abuse you, you know, but on the other end of that, but they're probably people who were abused, you know,
Right.
and there's this collective abuse and we need to heal all the trauma responses and get the clutter out of the way so that these when we do up level like this stuff isn't there, especially if we're going into this new earth, if we're going into this next level. I would assume that this is coming up because it needs to be cleared, it needs to be
Hmm.
healed so that we're able to receive. And that was the thing. I just kept saying like you need to receive, you need to receive, and then she's
Hmm.
saying the same thing, and it's just like that has to be something that we're collectively blocking. Like we
Right.
are not receiving. Like look at the world right now, it feels like it's on fire, and literally figuratively, you know, and we need to be healed. and
Right.
and we're like some of us are here to pick up on that, like you're doing it in a different way, I'm doing it in a different way, you know. And I just feel like if we can all like that's why I just hope it resonates with a bunch of people. I can't imagine it's coming up with all these separate people, and yes, they're in very different ways, but there's that thread through everything.
Hmm. Yeah. And it reaches who
It
it
needs to.
needs to reach, and
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of, how I feel about it. And I think the receiving piece is really key, because I really think that like as you're saying that, like I keep envisioning the Schumann resonance from last week in my mind, and like it was just like white light, high frequency energy pouring in, pouring in, pouring in. And when I had the conversation with Joshun, and we had talked about like, what is this like stuff, right? What's happening? And it was like codes and upgrades and all this stuff from the other realms, from the celestial bodies, just for the up leveling, right? So we're receiving that. We're continually blocking it, as you're saying, right? Like we're blocking it. It's coming in stronger and stronger. We can't handle it. That's the problem. So they're just trying to like hit us with it harder. And like physically, we can't handle it. Emotionally, we can't handle it. Energetically, we can't handle it. So if we're not practicing the things like self care, if we're not practicing energetic hygiene, the spiritual elements as well, then like we're not going to go to that next level. Like it really is like, I hate to talk about like the separation, but like I do think that there is going to come a time where like some people are going to go and some people aren't, like in the timeline situation. Like, and I don't think it'll be so visible, but like I just don't, not everybody is
Yeah.
aware that this is happening. You know what I mean?
I think most people aren't.
Yeah. Well,
It's just the problem.
some
I
people are
think
getting pulled along, like, like all these significant others. Like, keep
right.
coming this way.
Yeah, but I think Lauren's still like, yeah, I'm cool over here. you know,
Yeah.
She'll come with me. I'll make sure she's there. But I think that, and that's okay. And I don't think everybody needs to know about it and feel about it in the same way we do, and call it spirituality, call it celestial work. I think that's why therapy is getting so popular.
Mhm.
Because it's really just self work, and there's all different types of self work, but that's really what it is working on yourself so you're able to receive, so that you are aware of what's blocking you in life. And if you aren't aware of that, you're never going to like get the things you want in life, and you're going to be that body that cannot receive, that is too sensitive or too blocked. And when something's coming in harder, like that energy,
Yeah.
that's not always safe.
Right.
It's like it's trying to get your attention, but if it's too much, it's going to knock you out. So
Right. Yeah.
it's just really interesting how it like all kind of like comes and fits together.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that it also coincides with the astrology right now. There's like
Oh
crazy
yeah.
things going on in the astrology, which has been really interesting. And I think September is going to be a shift. And we talked about this a little bit yesterday. I think it's going to be a shift, but I don't think it's going to be a shift in the way that it's like a slow down, like relief shift. Like, I
No.
think it's going to be a shift to a more positive energy, but it's still going to be like fast and hot. It's kind of
Oh
how it
yeah.
feels to
I
me.
actually see things like winding up, like going
Yeah.
almost in fast forward. It's
Yeah.
going to be like a very high energy. And when I say high energy, like think of someone with like ADD.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
woo!
Like I think it's going to be like, yeah. That's kind of how I see it too. Like I
or
think it's going
ADHD.
to be really, but I think it's going to I feel like the darkness is going to lift a little bit. Like I don't know, August has felt heavy to me, like it's felt like a
Yes.
dark cloud, which is not very
Okay.
Augusty.
I don't know. Most people are like summer, let's be over.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, some people love summer, but yeah, like it does feel very heavy. It's almost like August is depression and September is manic. It's like we're in this bipolar cycle.
Yeah.
But the manic is going to be good because you're going to get so much done. Things are going to come in. You're going to be able to handle it. But it's very much like Zoom. Like September is going to go like that, and it's
Yeah.
and good things are going to happen. I just think but it doesn't mean that it's not gonna be overwhelming,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. But I think it'll lift some of the way
Oh,
people have
yeah.
been feeling. And I think that that's why the grounding, the self care, the self prioritization needs to happen now. Like, to your point of like, if you're going to be in things just speeding up, you know, in the midst of, so we're going into eclipse season, right? So that's what's about to happen into September. So just speaking quickly on the astrology piece of all this, we are literally about to go into the last eclipse season of the year, right? So it's about to get really, really crazy, especially for those of us Virgos who have birthdays in the midst of eclipse season.
Well, mine's
Um,
on an eclipse.
yep, yep. Well, and
Sounds
so
about right.
tomorrow, so this is recorded earlier than it's going to come out, but tomorrow is the 22nd, which will be the last new moon of the year. So we're going to have just had the last new, I'm sorry, not the last new moon of the year, the last new moon before eclipse season. Sorry, guys.
Yes.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa. Last new moon of
Well, if you're
before,
Jewish, that is too.
yeah, sorry. Mm.
Because we have the new year in
Yeah,
September.
last new moon before Rosh Hashanah. The last new moon before eclipse season. So this is like the last time when you're like before the last time to be manifesting. You're not supposed to manifest in eclipse season because in eclipse season, that's when all of the things that you've been manifesting come to fruition. So if what we're talking about and saying, like, you know, we're saying things are going to speed up, things are going to be happening, all the things that you've been manifesting, all the things that you've been calling in, all start to like basically like boop, 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 like start to happen in September during eclipse season, right? They all start like
Mhm.
happening. I know I got pregnant during an eclipse season. Like, I literally
Yeah.
got pregnant during between eclipses, okay? In a fall eclipse season. And they start to like, it starts to happen. So it's really good busyness, but now is the time to rest, take care of yourself, prioritize yourself, to rest before you go into eclipse season, when all of the stuff that you've been wanting, that you've been calling in, starts to come at you. And you're like, great, I wanted all these things, but now they're all happening. And I have to
Right.
like now do all of these things.
I know. And that's even more of a time actually to really be intentional. I can't even speak. Intentional about and when I say prioritize yourself, it's not only about self-care, it's about your feelings. You
Mm-hmm.
know, because if things are coming in and you're not used to putting yourself first and prioritizing your feelings, because here's a really good example of, okay, I have to prioritize my mother's feelings, because I don't want to hurt her. But let's say something comes in and you have this big opportunity, but your mom wants you to do something and you just feel bad. You don't want to miss it because you're
Right.
prioritizing someone else's feelings. And that's just like a very random example. But if you're not like, I'm ready for this, I'm ready to receive, and I feel worthy of receiving, then like you are going to miss these manifestations coming in because you're so preoccupied with making sure everybody else is okay and not
Mm-hmm.
yourself.
Yeah. 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 That makes sense. That makes total sense. Yeah. I think it's gonna be really good though for everyone. I think things are just, it's going to get brighter. We're going to have some fun, and
Yeah.
it's going to be okay, everyone. And you know, just buckle up. Buckle up, but you know, that's what we're here for. We're here to get you through these things, you know, and I think, you know, fall is a good time to start something too. It's a
Right.
really good time to start something. I'm launching my membership in
Hmm.
the fall. That opens Frequency RX. The doors open September 1st for that. And you have our mentorship that you could work with both of us. You can go see Beth for, she does her rituals, which is amazing. And you can, you know, work one-on-one with us, and we're here. Like, you
Right.
have resources. So I just
Right.
think that that's really important to know. So it's a tough time, but like, we're here.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's when you like, and a way to prioritize yourself is asking for help. And if you're unable to ask for help, why? What is blocking you? Because that also came up this week, is like, I don't like asking for help. I feel bad. I don't want to be a burden. And it's like, you're not a burden. Everybody needs help for things, and I don't know if it's like a belief that you need to do things on yourself by yourself and you're just weak, but like, we all need help. And this is just something that help will actually make it easier and help things to come in quicker. You're doing it the harder way. You're taking the harder path. And sometimes that is appropriate. But like, you are actually just like blocking yourself. You're making things like go so much slower and you're putting in the obstacles yourself. You don't need to do that. And I'm gonna go in a hard left right now because I'm really curious. Did anybody, this is from like our podcast a few weeks ago, did anybody come with the non-player characters stories?
No, guys.
No one?
No.
I'm very disappointed.
And I put something on TikTok and nobody said anything on TikTok either. I don't know. My TikTok, like, sometimes I'll get like 400,000 views, and then sometimes I'll get like 5 views. Like, no comment.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. Somebody, if there's any younger listeners that know how to work TikTok and they want to reach out to me, I would love to just know how to use it in general. But like, yeah, I don't know. Nobody, come on, guys, let us know. Help us out.
Yeah. It's actually rude. No, but I genuinely like so curious. Yeah. I don't know why, but that's been like popping into my head a lot the past few weeks too. And I feel like there's something there. And I feel like some non-player characters are gonna like come in September as well. But in a positive way. I saw
one today. That's so funny you said that. I thought I saw one today. I went to run an errand, and when I came out of the store, when I went into the store, there was like an electric like guys in this like truck, and then I came out and they weren't there anymore, and I was like, I wonder if they were NPCs.
Probably.
I was like, I don't know if they were real.
Yeah. I love that you've had like a full day already, and I'm like like just rolling out.
I have a toddler. I live so many lifetimes like before like the afternoon. It's not even funny.
Well, prioritize yourself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you for listening. We will be back next week with a new episode. And again, if you need any resources, support, we're here for you. Hit us up and have a great week. Bye.
Bye.